Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Thompson Lathe Tools. Welcome to a new level of professional wood-turning tools. Made by a wood turner, for wood turners. Welcome to wood turning. Today we're going to be playing with some green wood, and it falls under the genus, darn if I know. I think it's, I would say catalpa, but I'm probably wrong and look real stupid. So any of you out there who think you know what wood we're using today, put it in the comments section. I'd like to know. What we're going to make today though is a garden gnome from green wood. This is going to be a lot of fun because it's not hardwood. Green wood is fun to turn and it's easy. It's just a great project. But if you look at our little buddy here, he's made out of 5 different pieces of wood, and it's real simple assembly. He has a tenon here for the hat. Then we'll go over the head. Obviously, he has a hole in it. Obviously, I designed it after me. Pull that up. There's a tenon there, and then put that here. Then over here, we have tenons, and the arms go inside. Now, you can glue these in later. I just put a little tape on here to fake this right now. I'm probably going to use some sort of almost like glue gun glue. They make some industrial stuff with a big glue gun. Or the thing I was really curious and tried to see if it would work, actually it'd be outdoor window caulk, because that stuff holds up to anything. And the whole idea behind this is no finish. We're going to put it out in the garden and let it not rot, but actually season. So it'll turn gray and get old. I want the cracking, I want the natural look. So garden caulk would just kind of hold it together as the wood compresses and expands as it goes through its drying cycle. Now, where I got my wood was at our local recycling center. So these are trees and things that homeowners usually have cut down. So when they're cutting down stuff, they don't do a good job of making the ends level. They're just trying to get it out of their yard. So the stuff I grabbed is a little wonky. Also, you know, first come, first serve. There are a couple guys circling this place all day long who have log splitters. So whenever good wood arrives, they grab it real quick and start splitting it. So when you get there, I had to grab this stuff. It was not quite exactly perfect. So you can see it's not exactly round. So what I did was just go ahead and make a circle here because I wanted to get a rough idea of where circle is. If I put this on my lathe this way, even my 700+ pound robust lathe would start walking across the floor. This little thing right here, no lathe can handle that without it, you know, shaking the building apart. So all I want to do is take this and rough it out a little bit so when I put it on the lathe, it'll be a little bit more in round. Or round. One of those works. So anyway, you got a lot of blade exposed here, so just take your time and go slowly. And this is green wood, so it cuts real well. And I'm going to stay pretty wide of my mark because I don't want to waste any wood as I do this. So I can always take that little bit extra off if I don't need it. You can see how easily green wood cuts. Make sure you have a really sharp blade though. And you don't want to do this with about an 1/8 inch blade. You want to have something that at least is about a 1/2 inch in width because you need the width of the blade to be able to make this cut. Here we go, coming out. All right, we're done. Got all our fingers. This piece of wood really sucks, which is probably gonna make it really beautiful. This is the bottom side of what I just rounded out, and you can see I'm still not anywhere near round because of the way this piece of wood is shaped. But you can tell by looking at the sides, I'm pretty straight. I've got a good flat bottom. But this top is crooked, right? Well, if I want to put a tailstock up to here, it's gonna be sloped and it's not gonna grab real well. So what I want to do real quick is just take my zero-centered ruler. And so I want to put the 0 in the middle. Well, I look up here and I get, okay, 5 is on the edge here, 5 is on the edge here. Now this is just a rough mark, I'm just getting an idea. I'm going to come over here now NC00. Actually, I did that pretty good. Okay, so right there is about the best center I have for this piece of wood. And I don't want it to be perfectly symmetrical anyway when I turn it, because I want it to have that really neat look where you saw the bark on the belly and the face. I think that's kind of neat. So what I want to do is take a Forstner bit here. I'm just going to put it right here, and I'm going to drill in a recess that the tip of our live center can go into. Make sure I'm straight. There we go. So you can see how far off we are. That went in, yeah, you can see anyway. It's not flat, it is flat there, so now we're good to mount it on the lathe. You can see I made a little circle right there. That was where my compass was before, so I know the center of this piece. It looks much rounder from this side. So I'm gonna take a 2-prong drive center. I like 2-prong better than 4 because 2 prongs dig in deeper. You can see my grain runs like this. So I want my prongs to go like this. If I go like this, it's a splitting action, kind of like an awl for wood if you're making firewood. So I can get that in here. I'm gonna whack that in a few times. Okay, now this might fall off when I get ready to mount it here, but at least I've got the marks. So if it does fall off, I can just put it back in place. So slop that in there. And you can see over here now, we've got our recessed hole that we drilled, and that's going to accept our live center. And then this will be about as centered as this piece of wood is going to be. So obviously, since it's going to be out around, we're going to start the process really slowly on rounding it out. So we'll bring this piece up here, the tool rest up here. Now one thing is, Brian, can you sneak over here? I don't have my GoPro set up yet. This is too big for the GoPro. It's going to knock it out of the way. But you can see I'm close to the edge here. I'm just going to check. I'm further away here. So this is my closest edge. So I want to get as close to it as possible. I've got the tool rest about halfway up. So in other words, halfway up. It's on center basically. The top of the tool rest is in line with here. So when I use my roughing gouge and set this down, I'll have the proper angle and attitude that I can keep this down here. Now you can do this with a bowl gouge, but I really like the roughing gouge because it's so much heavier. This is spindle turning, so my grain is running this way, so it's completely legal. Also, there's a lot of bark on here. Well, the neat thing is Thompson, when he makes these tools, hear that? This is lead shot filled. So this sucker is heavy, and you need that weight to combat the pounding that this is going to give you here. So we're going to turn this on at the slowest speed possible. Robust starts at like a 1 revolution per minute or second. So that's really good. Now we're going to slowly bring up the speed. Why are you in the way? I'm not using you. There you go. Once the oops, hang on 1 second. I'm going to stop that because I completely forgot. I want to add these. This is going to be a little bit better when I do this. So we'll get into our Darth Vader mode here. But once this gets going, I'm going to let it level out. It'll stop shaking, and then we'll start turning. Here we go. And if you notice, I'm standing off to the side because if anything goes wrong, I want this thing to hit the tool rest and go that way. If I'm over here and it climbs the tool rest, it's going to miss me. So anyway, let's start turning a bit. We're just going to take it really slow and gentle for a while until we can start picking up the speed. So we might cut air for this first pass, but I just want to find out where I am. There it is. That's my high spot. So as I move my body, this is definitely a full body movement. Because you can't move your hands and do this. If your body's not locked in like this, the power of this wood's going to knock you crazy. And it's going to jiggle the handle a lot and you won't get a good clean cut. So I come back, I set, I've got all my weight on my right foot, I'm leaning into it. You can also see that the handle is resting against my leg. So that gives me a good, strong hold. And then I just go up here and my fingers with my depth gauge, so I just let it go forward the tool a little bit each time. I pinch down and I pass across. So I'm going to work on this a little bit till I get this rounded out. Then we'll start making the body, the shape of the body of the gnome. Now you see I've been able to pick the speed up because we're mooring round now. And this is so much fun, turning green wood, because I love the shavings that come off. And I'm not trying to be fancy or really clean on my cuts on this, because the rougher it looks, the better it is. So let's just stop there and give it a check. Ah, it looks good. Well, I like the fact that we got some of the bark here. I want to save some of that for the look. It's kind of neat and rustic, and gosh, that is cold. It is barely above 20 degrees today here in Oklahoma. I know that doesn't sound like much to you guys up east. Up east? Up north? And but anyway, the wood's almost frozen. I forgot about that. But anyway, the next thing we want to do is this could be the body. It doesn't have to be a ball. It could be oval, whatever shape of wood you have. I mean, this is cool because there are no rules. So I need to round this off, and you can see I still have that angle to mess with. So ideally on a spindle turning, you want to use a spindle gouge, so we can try that. But I have a feeling I might have to go to a bowl gouge, just because it's such a big heavy piece of wood right now, and I want something that is very easy to steer, if that makes sense. Trying to make sure I don't hit right here, so I'm close to there. So if I take, let's look at these two. If you look at the two different tips here, same width tools, right? So this is the spindle gouge, and look how big and round that radius is. So if I make a cut, I'm going to be engaging a lot of that blade. If you look at the bowl gouge, same width, but a smaller radius right here. So if I make a cut with this, I'm taking less wood off, so it's less aggressive. So when you're working with something like this, I opt for this for a little bit. I'm going to go to this in the end to get a better shape, but this is how I'm going to start it off and rough shape this out. So, I gotta quit turning these tools facing Brian. That could be really painful, buddy. Okay. Put back Darth Vader on here again. And so I'm barely missing the edge right there. So what I'm going to do is come across this way, turn this back on, got our speed built up. Now I'm just going to go across at a straight cut. Turn this up a little bit to engage. There we go. So this is about a 45-degree cut. And the issue is I'm cutting air here half the time. So I just got to watch my presentation or it'll bounce a lot, which it's already doing. There we go. I'm going to come here and take some more of the air off. So we're going to get that effect till we get around through this a little ways. Now this is going to be, probably hard to hear me, this is probably going to be the top of my gnome, so I want the tenon to be on this end. So we're going to turn this off, and just to be on the safe side, move this in a little bit closer. You can see how we're rounding out now, and then we're not hitting there. So I'm just going to keep rounding this out till we can start making a curve. So it just takes a little bit of slogging to get there. Turn it back on. Engage, and we're just going to push straight across. Sorry about that, Brian.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Thompson Lathe Tools. Welcome to a new level of professional wood turning tools. Made by a wood turner for wood turners.